So let me tell you about Erin, who maybe many of you already know, an active Catholic, St. Joseph parishioner. Erin was in her 30s when she was in her 30s and had been trying to get pregnant for 7 years when she learned that she had Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. The next day, after her diagnosis, she found out she was pregnant. She and her husband, Curry, had met in the theater, both actors. They were middle-class folks, talented, hardworking, very creative. I remember noticing them in Holy Name Church years ago, the day that their baby boy was baptized. She was in a wheelchair, and I thought it was strange, a new mother in a wheelchair. I wondered if she had broken a leg. I now know that shortly after her diagnosis, Erin rapidly lost the ability to control almost all of her muscles, including the ones that help her to swallow and breathe. She was put on a ventilator because she wanted to see as much of her child's life as possible. Her husband called our office about 18 months after her diagnosis to help get her home health care, the home health care her doctors had prescribed. Without the care, she would be forced into a nursing home where she wouldn't be safe. Doctors had prescribed the care, the HMO had said no. We got involved and the care was provided. Then Curry, her husband, was able to sleep for a few hours so he could care for Erin and their young son Daniel the next day. As Daniel grew, we helped to keep Erin on TN care. We fixed home health problems that arose, new denials, nurses not showing up. As Erin lost the ability to control her body, her mind kept thriving. She has the use of this one muscle right above her eyebrow, and with it she creates internationally acclaimed art. She connects it to her computer. She writes award-winning letters and advocates for others and communicates with her loved ones. She has never, over the years that I've worked with her, she's never complained or talked about anything other than savoring the blessings that she has. Her strong faith challenges all who know her to trust in the Lord. Her indomitable spirit will not be stolen by this greedy disease. After the flood of May of 2010, I checked in on Erin, Curry, and Daniel. Horrible news. They were losing their home of 20 years that day. It had been renovated to make it accessible to her. Taking care of Erin and trying to run a vending machine business had just become too much for Curry. He'd gotten further and further in debt, and then the flood came. Many in their area had lost power. Their house was flooded. They were worried they were going to lose power. If they had lost power, Erin's life would be at risk because the ventilator was powered by electricity. Also, the vending machines that Curry owned were all at Opryland, and so there was lots of scurrying around during those days. There was no time to ask friends for help on the mortgage. So on the day of the third missed payment, Bank of America sold their house at a foreclosure sale in standing water at the downtown arena. For the first time in 15 years, Erin seemed beaten. She said, This is my muscle memory. I've cleaned every nook of this house. I've planted gardens in its yards. I don't know if I can bear to lose it. We were scared they would be evicted. There was no place for a teenager, who was now a teenager, a ventilator-dependent mother, and her devoted spouse to go if they lost their home. Erin would almost certainly have to be institutionalized, which would not be safe for her body, but which would psychologically kill her. We got pro bono counsel at Waller Lanston to stop the eviction in May. But by August, the only way we could solve the problem was to raise the default, which had grown to $12,000. For months, Curry and Erin refused to go public. Their son was a freshman at high school on scholarship, and they were worried he would be picked on. Frankly, Curry was humiliated. He felt like a failure. He just wanted to give up. We told them they had done so much for so many over the years. Their goodness and involvement in the community had given others hope. And we told them, it was kind of like in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. In the end, everybody just wants a chance to repay George Bailey, and they'll come out. They'll come out to repay you. Finally, we convinced the Worsons to let us tell their story, with only 2 weeks left to raise the $12,000. If the money wasn't, they run their paper every other week, so they couldn't tell the story until the day of the court hearing. It wouldn't come out until published until the day of the court hearing. The Tennessean also agreed to tell the story, but it wouldn't run in hard copy format until 2 days before the hearing. I was afraid that this was not going to end well. All I could do really was pray. And so that's what I did. And then it hit me. We'll tell the story. We'll tell the story. So all the story that we had told to the Tennessean and the Register, we wrote up in a blast email that we sent to our 1,000 or so supporters. They don't have much money. I mean, just as a point of reference, we raise money through those emails for our whole operation, and though we raise a little bit more money every year over the 16-year history of our organization, the most we've ever raised for the whole organization is $90,000. This was for one family, one home, one mother who wanted to continue to watch her son grow up. So as the critical hours ticked by, I kept praying, and I ran across an email where Erin had sent me a picture of Daniel when he joined the Junior National Honor Society at St. Joseph. And on the email, including myself, were 25 or so other people from various decades of her life. So I forwarded our blast email with the story to them and just said, please pray for the Barshams. The story went viral in very short order. I got a call from a woman literally within minutes of that email, forwarded email, I got a call from a woman in Michigan. She said, your email was an answer to prayer. Erin's kindness helped me survive my husband's battle with cancer. He finally lost the battle, and I couldn't stand to see his sports equipment all over my house. So I sold it. The last piece sold yesterday. I wanted to do something special with the money. So I will send it now. It's $5,000. A lawyer from New York was driving through town on vacation, and he saw the Tennessean article the day before the hearing. He read it and drove directly to St. Joseph Church, where he called me from the parking lot to say, I just donated $500. And I wanted you to tell the Worships there's a whole church full of people in Poughkeepsie praying for them. This guy was so moved by the story that he changed his plan and came back to court the next day just to make sure that the bank gave the Worships their house back. Erin's story of strength and talent is one that has moved so many people, so I wasn't surprised to see him. But sitting next to him in the court, the Poughkeepsie lawyer leaned over to me and he said, my wife just died of cancer. It was so hard caring for her for 1 year. I don't see how Curry has done this for 15 years, but his strength and his faithfulness has been so moving to me. A wealthy woman in Belmead read the story and offered to go plant a garden for Erin in addition to her donation. A Title I school of low-income children had just read Tuesdays with Maury and were learning about ALS. They held a fundraiser, and they each of them wrote to Erin. Within 2 weeks, we'd raised $12,000. Within 2 days, we'd raised the $12,000, and in 2 weeks, we'd raised $140,000. Which paid off the house in its entirety and will pay for insurance and taxes for the house for the rest of their lives. Curry called in the midst of this. He said, I was walking around in a store and someone saw me and they said, you look so tall, like a weight's been lifted off you. Curry is 6'8". He said, I realized it. I hadn't felt this strong in 15 years. You didn't just give us our house back, you gave us our pride back. Of course, it wasn't me that did it. I did what every good lawyer should do. I listened to my clients. I worked on solving their problem. And that was the only way I knew how. It was my job to give them hope. The rest unfolded in a way that was nothing short of divine. I was just thrilled to have a ringside seat.